Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tech Tuesday presented by Delta Media Group, where we're thinking that that whole adventure where Sarah tries to find the Goblin King by traversing the whole labyrinth, we think that was all fluff. Really, the whole time, Hoggle. It's Hoggle that was in charge. So today, we are going to take a look at the DeltaNet, and like we always do, but specifically, we're going to look at lead processing. Now, obviously, you've been able to process leads throughout the DeltaNet, all the different DeltaNet iterations, rather. But what we've done in DeltaNet 6 is we have simplified that process, kind of put all that information right in front of you in one place. That makes it just a little bit easier to do and a little bit easier to see what the customer is after and get information about that customer. So, the way it's done is here we are starting on the dashboard in DeltaNet 6, and what we've done is we've put a widget directly on this dashboard so you can get to it from the page you see when you first log in. Now keep in mind that because this page and really all of these tiles and things in DeltaNet 6 are customizable at the company level, you might not see the leads widget here. So this video is really just going to pertain to those companies that have left in that leads widget on this dashboard page. So first and foremost, here we are on the dashboard. Now this is what you would generally see when you first log in if you are set up on DeltaNet 6 and nothing has been modified at the company level. And now if I scroll down, you can see we've got our sales pipeline widget, our tasks widget, and again the order of these is also customizable. Calendar, and then here we are with My Leads. So this My Leads widget for you may be all the way up at the top, it may be down at the bottom of the page. You might have different things on this page, not as many, but this is going to pertain to basically how this widget works. So when you're looking at the My Leads widget, by default it's going to show you all unprocessed leads. So you can see here I have a couple of unprocessed leads, so it's showing those. And I can take this drop down and I can use it to see some different leads here. So these would be customers that have had activity in the last 7 days, in the last 14 days, and you can see that I don't have any here. It's just a function of this being a test site and test data. But the key is, if you have any unprocessed, it's going to show those unprocessed right up first, front, and center. Now, with an unprocessed lead, what you want to do is respond to that customer as quickly as you can. That, in essence, is processing the lead, or basically making the system consider that lead processed. So we can see here first I've got two different leads from two different customers. You can see this icon is a little bit different. This one here indicates that this customer has made multiple requests. So there are multiple requests attached to this, and you can see the little box there. And then if I roll over this one, you can see that it is just an email request. So that's what that little icon means. Now if I want to process that request or respond to the customer, all I have to do is click on it anywhere and it will open up this modal. So here it gives me the customer's name up at the top, and next it will give me all of the requests that that customer has made. So in this case the customer has more than one, so we can see they're both up here. So we have email and showing, and they're this nice blue here to help them stand out a little bit for you. If I click the arrow over here, that will expand that request so I can see the details about it. And we can see that in this case it was a property inquiry email. So basically they asked for information on this property. And there's the picture of it. Here's a little information about the property itself, the address, asking price. And then if we go down here, if the customer did put in any comments, now this is just the default comment on that form, but if they had typed in a custom comment when they made this inquiry request, then it would have that information here so I could see it really easily. Now this particular customer also made a showing request. So if we expand that one, you can see this was the same property, but it gives you very similar information, but also you have information for the showing date and time that they requested. And if they had put any comments in, those would be down here as well. So there you go. That is how you can kind of quickly see what those comments are. Now the next piece we have here is we have our pipeline phase. So if I open this up, this allows me to, as soon as this lead has come in, assign it to a pipeline phase right away and attach potential buying volume or potential dollar amount to them if they're interested in buying or selling. So it just simplifies me getting them into the sales pipeline so that they're represented there. All I would do here is put in these values if I have them, or I would go down here and say which phase of the pipeline they should be in. And I would just select what phase that should be, and then hit save, and that would put them in that pipeline phase. We'll call them a prospect. That sounds pretty good, right? Now the next thing we have here is we have a widget for notes, and I'll go ahead and collapse that one. And now we'll expand the notes section. So if this is an existing customer, is where this really comes into play. So if this was an existing customer and I've been communicating with them and they just made a new request on my website, as long as I've been attaching notes to this customer as I've been communicating with them, all those notes will show up here. So that really simplifies me seeing any relationship or any information that I've put down about this customer before. So that way I don't have to go hunt them down on another page. I don't have to find them in the customer center and bring up their profile page. I can just see it right here while I'm processing the lead. The next one we have is history. So if I open that up, you can see all of the history that's been tracked with this customer. So when they visited the site, what kind of properties they're looking at. One thing particularly cool about this is I can look at this page and I can see, let's say they were on my website and I can see that they viewed, half a dozen other properties. I would be able to see that here, and then in addition to the property they actually made a request on, which I see up here, I would be able to see all those other properties. So in my response to them, I can say, oh, I see you were also looking at this, this, and this. Is there something you can tell me about those properties where you weren't as interested in them as you were in the other ones? And that kind of information will just give you, that much more insight into the specifics of what this customer is looking for, so that you can, really help them out to the best of your ability and give them information and, suggest listings that are really going to be relevant to them. And it's making that connection that helps you out through the entire process. So we'll go ahead and collapse that one. Now the next option we have here is this is where we come down to actually processing the lead. So this is how we're going to choose how to process them. So I'm just going to click this drop down. Now I can do email, phone, or other. So we'll go with email for our first choice. And you can see that opens up our email response form here. I can click on one of these response templates if I just want to fill this in, just to save myself a little bit of time. You can see we've got a bit of a gap there between my signature. There we go. Or I can go through here and I can just type in a response if I want to put a custom response in here, which again would be particularly useful if I saw from their history that they were interested in other properties, things like that. Or I can modify this. This is just a regular WYSIWYG editor. So this is my custom message. I also have some formatting options, so you can really fine-tune this email to the response you're sending. When my email is all written up, I'll just hit send. That'll send the email to the customer, thereby contacting them, and the system will mark this lead as processed. Now my next option up here, we'll switch email to phone. I can see that opens up this section right here where I can choose to get this phone number. This option will only be available for customers that have provided a phone number, obviously. So if they haven't provided their phone number, I can't process the lead by phone. Now if they have, what I'll do is select phone and I'll click on get phone number, and at the time I click on get phone number, it will show me their number and it will also mark the lead as processed at the same time. And what the system is doing there is it's assuming that you're going to call the phone number that you have retrieved from this and by doing so you'll have contacted the customer and essentially process the lead. And now our last option here is other. So if this is an existing customer, the system assumes that you have another way of getting a hold of them. So, maybe you just picked up your phone and called them. You already had their number stored. Maybe you just sent them a text message, or contacted them in any one of a dozen other ways. If that's the case, you can just go in here and manually mark the lead as processed. Now that's still something you want to do. Just because you contacted them outside of the system means that it is not as important that you contact them through here, because you did reach out to them. That's the most important part. But you still want to mark them as processed when you did that, so that the system can keep track of metrics around that. So those would be metrics like of the leads that came in, which ones did you respond to, how quickly did you respond to them, so that you can keep track of that and kind of have that in the back of your head and know where you need to improve and know how you can do your job as well as possible. So that's what you do. You just go in here and mark this as other and click mark as processed if you contacted them in some way outside of the system. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So I'll go ahead and mark this one as processed. There we go. So it's now processed. You can see this little section down here changes so that we can see the registration date. We have their contact information listed out here now. And then if I want to go ahead and go through to their profile page, I can just click on View Customer Details, and that takes me through to that customer's profile page. So from here, I can add a note, I can create a saved search for them, I can add tasks, I can add transactions, or I can save properties they're interested in. So everything that I can do from their customer profile page. And there you have it. So that is how we have simplified the lead processing process in DeltaNet 6, as long as that widget is available to you, and how you can go about kind of streamlining your workflow whenever you get a new lead. So, as always, thanks a lot for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to send an email into support@deltagroup.com or give us a call and we can walk you through whatever you need. And thank you very much. I will see you next week.